There's a misconception that we don't exist, that somehow our ability to excel at the highest level of our industry is limited, that overcoming barriers as a woman of color would be insurmountable. But what would happen if we decided to venture out on our own despite everything we're up against? I'll tell you. Welcome to the Black Girls Consult 2 podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Angelina Davis, a healthcare consultant, consulting coach, high performance fanatic, wife, and proud girl mom. I help transform female professionals into thriving solo consultants. And just like you, I'm wearing all the hats and doing all the things. So this podcast is to empower the busy female professional to move past fear to start and grow a successful consulting business, despite the obstacles you may encounter. We'll dive deep into consulting practice, business strategy, mindset, and more. So grab your cup of coffee or tea if that's your thing, and let's get started. Hello there. Welcome to the Black Girls Consult 2 podcast. I am so excited to be back on the podcast again. I have been ripping and running all over the place for the last couple of weeks. If you followed me on Instagram or either LinkedIn, you've probably seen that I have been traveling a bit. So I'm so glad to be back home and all settled back in so that I can kind of get back in my routine when it comes to the podcast and all of the other things that I have going on. So I'm super excited about this episode today. I'm actually releasing this a little bit later in the week because I was not really feeling the episode that was scheduled to come out this week. I just felt like the timing of it wasn't the best because, sometimes when I'm creating these podcast episodes, I'm not just doing this for the audience overall, but I'm actually doing this as a support as well to the clients that I serve. And so I know that a number of people are dealing with a lot right now. I tend to attract a lot of clients that are in change or I would say periods of flux in their lives, right? I have a number that may have little ones and, though that is always exciting when you either have a brand new baby or little toddlers running around. And then, some that may have kids that are just a little bit older. And then on the other end of the spectrum, there are other clients that don't have any kids, but maybe they're moving up in the ranks of their career and they have more responsibilities on their plate. And so they have a lot going on because a lot is being demanded of them. Typically, as consultants, we are high achievers. We are overperformers. We are people that are extremely ambitious. So no matter what is happening in our personal lives, we are still looking to grow and to do more. It's just how we're wired, right? So with that being said, I thought one of the things that would be really good to talk about today, especially, is how we can begin to think through this whole process of time and project management, so that we are able to make progress. Because one of the biggest challenges I've found with coaching other consultants is that we have a lot that we want to accomplish. So we're usually super creative and we have a lot of goals and we're used to setting goals and really strategically tackling them and getting them off our plate and accomplishing big things. But when it comes to entrepreneurship, there is so much to do. When we first, start our businesses, we're thinking that we're going to solely be focused on the work that we're most passionate about. But then along with that comes aspects of business development and marketing and sales. And, it's just a lot of stuff, a lot of pieces moving, a lot of things that have to be built out so that things run smoothly. And it can become overwhelming. And because many of us are also perfectionists. I would like to say a recovering perfectionist. I'm still in that process. Then we often get stuck because we want things to represent us well. We want them to look good. We want them to be good. And so with that, we get into this cycle of planning and we plan and we plan and we plan and we don't take action, at least not the action that we need to take and as swiftly as we need to take it in order to move our businesses forward. So this conversation conversation is all about how we are going to get out of our brains, out of our minds for a little while today and start thinking about how we can tackle this whole process a little bit differently so that we're able to get more done with the time that we have. I hope that this conversation is helpful because it definitely is a huge component of what I like to provide through my coaching programs. And as a matter of fact, with this most recent update, I'm building in some more aspects of accountability and time management and project management work that usually we focused on definitely as needed, but I feel like this needs to be a core piece. And so I have built this in as more of a core piece of the coaching program for that reason, because if we are unable to effectively implement the strategies and the plans and the tactics and all the other things that, we learn and we put together, then it's not going to benefit us in the end. And in order to get to that period of freedom and relaxation and all those things that you hope for, we do have to go through a building process and a building season. So this episode is going to focus on how we're able to navigate that building season and how we can do it with less stress, less headache, more happiness, and a better quality of life. All right, let's get started. If you're finding yourself following all the successful accounts on Instagram and LinkedIn and YouTube, and you're just trying to recreate their strategies, but haven't experienced much growth, or you're consistently sharing tons of helpful content within your industry, almost burning yourself out, but you're still struggling to get potential clients to see the value of the services that you offer, or if you're reaching out to your network and even responding to requests for proposals, but it's just not driving the leads that you want and need. If that's the case, it's time for you to be seen as the expert that you are. It's time for you to make a greater impact. So here's the deal. Using a cookie cutter approach won't help you stand out from the crowd or attract the aligned clients that you need to build a profitable business and create the freedom you desire to live life on your own terms. Your expertise is unique and your approach should be also. That's why I created my signature program, Position to Excel, which is a highly focused, curriculum-based, personalized coaching program developed to help you accelerate the growth of your consulting business by creating a magnetic core offer, an expert personal brand to position your services to sell effectively. And unlike other programs that rely on traditional methods to attract leads, we develop a personalized approach to fill your pipeline without cold calls or reliance on referrals and RFPs. So if you're interested in taking your consulting business to the next level or starting and getting yours off the ground, visit www.excelatconsulting.com, apply for Position to Excel, and let's get started. So one of the first things that we often do when we're setting out to achieve any goal is carving out time for us to accomplish that task. I think we are all very aware as to what it takes in order for us to do our best work and to get things done. We've read the books by Cal Newport and others about deep work, and we know how to set SMART goals. All of those things we're very familiar with. Those are the things that we've been using to get ahead and to be successful over time. So I don't want to tell you that you need to set goals and carve out time and really focus on how you're going to achieve those goals, because you know that those are things that you need to do. The problem comes in with the how. How do you carve out time and make sure that that time you carved out is something that you're actually able to protect and use for the purpose that you intended it to be used for? And one of the biggest challenges in being able to protect that time are the things that mean the most to us. Typically, whenever I have something that bleeds over into the time that I've set it aside to do work, it's usually not my work. It's usually not anything that relates to client work. Because often we have a very easy time when it comes to our responsibilities, whether it's in our business or it's in a 9 to 5, we have a easier time setting those boundaries and establishing the line that we don't want people to cross. That's something that we often learned early on, and people understand that there needs to be boundaries in place when it comes to those things. So often that is usually not what causes the problem. The problem typically comes from, the simple things, the things such as having to take the kids across town to their event. Maybe you may have a little one that's taking dance and you want to be there because you want to see them twirl and spin and fall and get up and really the smile on the face that lights up the world. You want to see them hit the ball out at the park and cheer and yell and be that proud teen mom. You want to do all those things. And if you don't have kids, you want to hang out with your girlfriends. You want to, you want to be with your significant other, and you want to spend that time really taking in life and enjoying those quiet moments, just laying, chilling on the couch and maybe having a night in with Netflix. There are a lot of things that you want to do that really bring you joy, can eat up the time that you set aside. And so I think one of the biggest challenges that we have early on is learning how to create boundaries with those that we love. And so that's actually one of the first things I wanted to really talk about, because I feel like this is a major player when it comes to clients being able to get things accomplished that they have often set out to do. And what I found is that in most cases, this comes from something that most people are not even thinking about. It's often because we struggle with perfectionism. And perfectionism in this sense looks like wanting to be the perfect mom or wanting to be the perfect best friend or significant other. It is something that we hold dear, and we also want to be one of the best at. We don't want to fail at it. And in our minds, we see not being able to show up in those moments as contributing possibly to that failure. And that causes a problem for us, because then we're unable to establish the boundaries that we need to protect the time that we've set aside, because we want to be all things to all people, even though we say that that's not what we're trying to do. Deep down inside, it really is. And I understand, I get it. I have been there. As a matter of fact, the other night, I spent time when I could have been working on building out some other things that I need to do. I spent time just sitting on the bleachers, watching my younger daughter play volleyball, because I used to always have to take my older daughter to her games. And so I didn't want my younger daughter to feel as if I wasn't there for her, because her dad was also coaching and could have been there as well. I wanted to be there so she can look over and see her mom in the bleachers. And I know all that is important, but at the same time, those are the things that are easier for us to work through if we are planning ahead and really structuring our business, establishing our goals and our timeline in a way that fits into our lifestyle. So there are things that we can accomplish in our workflow that can be easily done in those settings. So for instance, for me, maybe it could have been some aspect of building out my content strategy and thinking and finding sounds for reels and really doing some brainstorming and brain dumping while I'm sitting there. I'm just using these as examples, but those are things that help your business to move forward, but actually fit into those other aspects of your day, so that you're able to still get things accomplished while you're also enjoying that aspect of your life. And, let's be real. There are going to be times where you just have to carve out the time, close the door and say, do not disturb me. And, some of the ways that I feel have been helpful for me in tackling those moments where I need to ask for a bit of time to do deeper work is that, number one, when it comes to setting that time aside, you want to set that time aside and you want to commit to sticking to it and discipline yourself to follow through on really working on the project that you had slated during that time period. Because the better you are at blocking off that time and establishing those boundaries so that you can get that work done when you planned it, the more you're going to be able to be present in those other moments without that hanging over your head. And, it's going to feel a little bit uneasy at times. It's like back when you were in college or even in high school and you had that major project that was due on Monday and you waited like 3 or 4 weeks before you started. So now you're in crunch time and you have to get it done. You have to like lock yourself in a room for the entire weekend while everybody's going to the party, while everybody's hanging out, while other people are traveling and doing all the fun things. You have to, for only those 2 days, the 48 hours, set aside that time for you to crank it out so that you don't fail your class, right? You remember those days. And that is very similar to this period of building that you are in right now, that whenever you find those moments where you have to get a slated project done, it really is about finding that time that you can carve out and commit to putting that do not disturb sign up. And when I say that, I just really mean that it can be in a physical sense, meaning that you can't put that on the door, but letting everybody know that this is the time that you have set aside. And I'm telling you right now, your family will understand. Even when it comes to little ones, that's where we need to call in and ask for help. I tell people all the time is that it takes a village. It really, really does. And it's okay to ask for help in those moments, especially if we're able to ask for that help in advance and we're able to plan those moments out. Those are the things that I love to help clients work through and want to do more and more of, because I feel like that's where we actually really struggle. We struggle with being able to plan those things out, ask for the help ahead of time, and then commit to using the time that we were going to set aside so we don't have this stress hanging over our heads. And then what happens is that when you're able to do those things consistently and dedicate that time more consistently, then you actually build the foundation that will then fuel itself. And that's the wonderful part. It's like once you set these systems in place, then the systems will run and then you'll just have to maintain them. But I don't like to fool anybody and say that you're not going to go through these building periods. There is going to be a building period. For me right now, I'm working on trying to complete and put out a course for new consultants. And that's a building period for me. It means that in order for me to get this done and to do it effectively and to do it with high quality and to do it the right way, I'm going to have to dedicate an extended period of time to building that. But once that is built, then it's a matter of just repeating, running the system, revising and improving. And that takes a lot less work than it does to build that foundation. Now, the second piece of the puzzle is that once you have that time carved out and you're establishing boundaries so that you're protecting that time at all costs so that you can get the work done, the next step is having a plan. And this is where it can be very difficult if you're trying to go at it alone to make the most of your time. And let me explain why. I am notorious for wanting to DIY everything. I'm guilty of it. I like to learn. I like to figure out how to do it myself. And it's actually fun for me. Now, but the problem is DIYing everything is not helpful. Definitely when it comes to running a business. Now, DIYing a hobby, DIYing something that you have an interest in, really learning and building out down the road, all of those things are definitely wonderful because you have more time. But when you are limited in time, this is not when you need to DIY. So it helps for you to have a roadmap, to have something in place or something in your hand that allows you to have guidance, someone that can support you, someone that can mentor you, someone even that can coach you to help you figure out what are the things that are most important for you to focus on and how do you need to implement that in a way so that things move in more of a streamlined fashion and build upon one another so that you're able to accomplish a goal. It is going to make the process of building much easier. It's one of the reasons why we have instruction manuals, right? For anything that you build. Even if you go to IKEA, everything in there you got to build. You know how it is. But if you go to IKEA and you're trying to just pick up a chair or a desk, you have an instruction manual that's going to come with that because although I know you're smart enough to piece these things together and build it yourself. You can actually do that. It's going to take you much longer to build that desk than if you had the instruction manual that tells you exactly which screw goes where and how you need to put it together. And after that, once you have the basics done, you have the desk built, you can color it, paint it, decorate it however you want. You can do anything that you want with it. You can turn a desk into a kitchen table. The point is that in order to really set those things up so that you're able to move forward, you have to have that instruction manual so that you don't waste more time or spend unnecessary time that you don't have right now, right? Because remember, you have these other things that you want to enjoy. And in order to enjoy those things, then you want to make it easier for you to get the work done. So that's the second piece. So it's establishing the boundaries, but then also having a roadmap, a plan in place so that you know exactly what you need to do. And it becomes more of, focusing on effective implementation than it is on trying to figure out and learn how to do every last step of the building process. That's the part you want to alleviate. So however you are able to do that, whether it is through a focused program, a course or coaching or mentorship or whatever you choose to do, that is going to be helpful in you getting your business built faster so that you will have the ability to do more in the long run. Boundaries, then roadmap. Now, the last piece of this puzzle is that you want to make sure that you are committing to yourself. And this is super important. This is probably the most important thing of all, because really, I probably could have just had this episode and focused on this one element and I would have been done a long time ago instead of talking your head off. So thank you for staying with me up until this point. But really committing to yourself and having that ability to say that your dreams, your goals are valuable and important enough for you to make them a priority changes everything. It does. It changes everything, because then it moves from a situation where you see your business as being optional to it being necessary. You see your dream as being something that is a living, breathing thing that you are nurturing and that you are building. And when that happens, it becomes easier for you to do those other things that we talked about in terms of establishing boundaries and seeking the help that you need and finding the roadmap that you need to have so that you can move forward. All of those things become easier once you commit to yourself. I didn't say commit to the plan. I didn't say commit to the strategy. I said commit to yourself. So look, let's be real for a moment. I talk about weight loss a lot because this is my personal challenge. So this is something that I currently work on. But I think that is also something that's very relatable for most people. When it comes to weight loss, one of the reasons why so many of us struggle with weight loss if we're trying to lose weight is because we fail to commit to ourselves. We think that it's a failure because when we're unable to do so, we think it's a failure because we haven't committed to the process. But the process never really had much meaning outside of being a tool, right? It's like the roadmap. It's a tool. It's something that's there to help you along the way. But committing to yourself, meaning that you're valuing you, your health, your wellness, your body, when you're taking care of those things and committing to nurturing those things, that's what helps you to become more disciplined when it comes to the plan. So it's not about committing to the plan. It's about committing to yourself. And that has been such a huge journey for me. Like I said, with the weight loss piece, committing to exercising because the exercise is best for my body so that I can live longer and have a healthier life with fewer aches and pains and be able to do the things that I enjoy and I love because my body has been so good to me. So that mindset is what fuels everything else. So it's the same with your business. You have to commit to yourself, the things that you say you want. Stop letting other things come in the way, even the people that you love. That's hard to hear, I know. But even the people and the things that you love, stop letting those things come in the way and keep you from really committing to yourself and the things that you want for your life. You have this one life to live. We all do. And you want to make the most of it. And I just want to encourage you, to really know and think that committing to yourself doesn't mean that you cannot show up for others. It doesn't mean that you can't be the wonderful mother, wife, friend. It doesn't mean that you can't be great at those other things just because you commit to yourself. It actually makes you greater at those other things because you committed to yourself. That's a lot of the work that we have to constantly do when it comes to building your consulting business, especially when you have so much on your plate, you have so much going on, and you're struggling with the time management and the project management piece. It really is carving out that time, figuring out a plan and a structure for you to be able to carry out that plan and implement effectively, and then committing to yourself, which then will enable you to commit to the process that will lead you to success in the end. Because when you do that, you don't give up. You keep going. You navigate the ebbs and the flows in the journey, and you outlast your competition, and you achieve the success that you want. That's what we're trying to do. That's all my goal is to increase the success and longevity of women in consulting. I will say that over and over again until you all know that piece by heart. That's what I'm here to do. And I truly believe that this is one big element of it. So I want you to tell me whether or not you really resonated with this episode. And look, if you have any questions whatsoever about how you can begin to build some more balance into your life and really create this harmony between your business and your personal life and your lifestyle so that it doesn't feel so hard to do and it makes it easier for you to grow to the level that you truly desire to be at, that in your heart of hearts you want to be at, then reach out to me in my DMs, shoot me a DM on Instagram or reach out on LinkedIn. I always love to hear from you guys. As a matter of fact, whenever I get an email, I just light up. And if you've gotten an email reply from me, you know that I love these emails because I genuinely want to help. And so I'm hoping this episode did just that. And if you enjoyed it, don't forget, share it with a friend, and make sure that you leave a review on Apple Podcasts or rating on Spotify, 5 stars. I would love it. It helps me actually reach more and more people who need to hear this message and allows them to fuel their consulting journey as well. All right, guys, I hope that you have a great weekend since I'm releasing this toward the end of the week. And also, don't forget, carve out some time for you to build that vision. It's okay. You can do it little by little. Just start with 30 minutes, 60 minutes, maybe over the weekend. I promise it'll help. All right. Talk to you soon. Take care. Love you guys. Thank you for tuning in to the Black Girls Consult 2 podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to leave your review on Apple Podcasts, subscribe, and share it with a friend. We're on a mission to increase the success and longevity of women in consulting, and you can help us do that. Also, I'd love to hear from you, so let's connect at Dr. Angelina Davis on Instagram or LinkedIn. And don't forget to visit excelatconsulting.com for more information to support your consulting journey. Until next time, take care.